All right, so we are going to start our notes on muscle physiology, and the first thing that we're going to take a look at is how a muscle is structured. We know that muscles are voluntary, so that means that a message has to come from the nervous system to signal the skeletal muscles to contract. The smooth and the cardiac muscles still have to get messages, but they just happen a little bit differently because remember they're involuntary muscles and sort of do things on their own, but a message has to come and we have to consciously tell the skeletal muscles to contract. So the first sort of definition I have up here is a motor unit. A motor unit is a nerve. So this is showing the spinal cord and a nerve coming out of it and going to this bundle of muscle fibers. So that's called a motor unit. So it's the nerve and the muscle that it basically controls. All right, so I'll just write that up here. Nerve and And so notice that the way this shows that, remember that we talked about bundles of muscle fibers, they're called fascicles, all right, they're groups. And notice that this motor unit, this nerve, is only really affecting one bundle, one fascicle. You would have another motor unit that would control maybe another bundle. And so you might have many motor units per one muscle because these muscles are pretty big and we can sort of control the strength of our contraction depending on how many motor units are involved. So for example, if I'm going to pick up something very light like this remote, I don't need a whole lot of force to do that. So I may only need one bundle of muscle fibers to contract to get enough force to allow me to pick this up. But if I want to pick up something heavier like this chair, I'm going to have to employ more force. So I might then have to signal several motor units and multiple fascicles, multiple bundles, in order to get that to contract with enough force to pick that up. All right, so these separate motor units have a function in that we can control how many motor units are involved and how many fascicles are involved and how strong the contraction is. All right, so that's called a motor unit. And you can see the muscle fibers here. We're going to take a look inside these muscle fibers and find out what's going on here in the next day. So notice that there's two kinds of nerves here. There are what we call there are motor nerves that are going to cause this to contract, and there are sensory nerves that send messages back to the brain and spinal cord. Well, we'll get more into that when we get to the nervous tissue. Okay. Let me just do this pass. All right, so let me look at the next page here. All right, so I want to talk about how a muscle contracts and the message that goes from that nerve to the muscle to signal it to contract. Okay, so I'm going to pause here and I'll come back.